speaking of PS5 and next gen, we're approaching it very rapidly.
Yeah, and
we have.
I was gonna say, we both have our next gen consoles pre-ordered.
Yeah, somehow, by the grace of the gaming gods, we both were able to secure pre-orders. Which, by the way, what a fucking mess! What a fucking absolute mess! A travesty for both Xbox and PlayStation. What a disgusting. There is technology that exists that could have mitigated literally all of those issues.
We have technology.
And you know what? You experienced with the PlayStation, the queue system that they had, which actually worked.
Yeah.
Right? That was the only thing that worked.
I mean, so for those of you that don't know, PlayStation sent out message or emails to people. You had to sign up, and then they sent out emails to certain people based off of what they said your activity on PlayStation or whatever the fuck it was, a link to your PSN ID, to basically get a link to go to a pre-order, right, and wait in line like a virtual line.
Yep.
So PlayStation had their last showcase or whatever it is. They announced what the price, right?
Yeah.
And the release date, but they didn't announce a pre-order release date.
That's right.
And then it was a fucking mess online forever. And then some vendors put up their links like immediately. People couldn't get in. Websites were crashing. People weren't getting pre-orders because they're whatever it is.
Let me in. Let me in.
So on the PlayStation side of it, at least if you got that link and you got in, right, you could wait in a digital line. You had to wait a while, but it was really smooth once you got in. Like, it was fine.
Yep.
But they didn't send any guidelines to vendors or anything like that. Whereas on the Xbox side, they sent guidelines to vendors, right? Like with a specific day and time. They were very clear about it. But then when you did that, vendors' infrastructures and Xbox's infrastructure, their own website, the Microsoft Store, couldn't handle it, and everything was crashing and a fucking mess. How do we live in 2020 and you cannot handle a pre-order system? Or you give GameStops like 8 at 1Xs and 2 Series S's.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. It's a mess. And you know what? Even GameStop, they implemented a queue system to get on the website to reduce server load. The website still didn't work, even with that queue system to get into the site. And I got to say, listen, obviously we're PlayStation fanboys more so than we are Xbox fanboys. But the Xbox is the most powerful console. I'm getting one. You're getting one. We respect the Xbox.
Yeah, we've both had this last generation, both of them.
Exactly.
And the Switch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when I say
and
this,
PCs.
I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but Xbox, Microsoft, you literally watched what happened to PlayStation, and you couldn't do any better. What are you doing, dude?
Yeah. Even though they were memeing on social media and stuff like that. Hey, if you're gonna walk the walk, you better be able to talk the talk. And guess what? Your pre-order fucking system sucked.
It sucked.
Both of them did. There's no excuse. There's just no excuse across the board. But those few people, that percentage of people that got the PlayStation thing, at least it was smooth.
Yeah. And it should have been like that from the get-go.
There's just no excuse. And I get with coronavirus and the state of the world, production is lower than what they anticipated, but it's still higher. The units they have available is still higher than the last generation.
Yep.
And there's no way, unless you have the most boneheaded set of administrators or higher ups, that you could not have known and prepared for how many people were trying to get their hands on it.
Yep.
More people are gaming now than they ever have before. The pandemic only exacerbated that.
Yep.
The need for software and hardware is off the charts. There's no way that you thought it wasn't going to be a hot item. There's just no way.
Yeah.
So you're stupid and you're bad for not creating an infrastructure to support that.
That's right.
And specifically with the PS5 now, and I'll let you touch on this because I don't know much about it, but apparently, well, first of all, just as a little aside, they're changing in Japan the cross to the circle button or the whatever.
Yes.
With this generation, right?
Yeah. So essentially what that is all about is ever since the PlayStation 1 in Japan, to confirm when you're playing a video game, essentially, when you wanted to confirm something in the game, you would push circle in Japan.
Right.
Where in North America and other regions that aren't Japan, you would push X. It's, ingrained in all of us. When you want to confirm something in a PlayStation game, you push X. In Japan,
Right.
it was, or X or cross. I'm sorry, cross button. In Japan, it was always circle, because circle was like okay, and the X was like no, back. X was the back button.
Yeah.
In America,
Yeah.
we switched that. The buttons don't have a meaning in America. So, but a couple of Japanese YouTubers and Japanese media people actually got first look at the PS5 at the time we're recording this today. And what they found was one of the things that was changed in the PlayStation 5 is the buttons were switched to the American way.
Right.
So,
because people have like the hardware now, like the functioning hardware now in Japan, right?
yep, yeah, a couple of the YouTubers were able to try the hardware. They were allowed to show pretty much everything except for the dashboard, the OS, anything like that. They were allowed to show gameplay and all that, but not the OS.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of the OS, it was leaked apparently, like the size of it.
Yeah, so essentially, this could be completely factual or false. It could be fake. It's not factual information as of right now. There's some Russian screenshots of the PlayStation 5 dashboard, and one of the things that they managed to take a picture of with their phone, obviously it's a blurry screen because it's always a fucking blurry screen when you're doing these kind of leaks.
Right.
Even though there's a screenshot button on the goddamn controller. I digress.
Mm-hmm.
It showed that the storage for the PlayStation 5 only had 664 gigabytes available for games.
Right.
As we know, the 1 terabyte hard drive is what it comes, SSD is what it comes with, which is 1,000 gigabytes. So essentially 340 gigabytes are being used by the OS.
Right. So typically, Xbox is similar. The OS will take up about 100 or so gigabytes, right?
Yep.
So you'll have 850-ish like left after the OS. If this is true, that is a bad thing. First of all, 1 terabyte SSD. I know SSDs are more expensive, and you like almost need them now for this infrastructure and running games quicker and the quick resume stuff and whatever the fuck. I don't care. 1 terabyte is not enough.
I agree.
For modern gaming, it's not enough. Something's got to give. Either more storage, more SSD storage, right? Or you need to make your games smaller. You need to figure out something to make them smaller, because something's got to give. Because guess what? If I have 664 gigabytes of space on my PS5, I'm going to go through that in like fucking 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
And you think about the updates and like the other apps that I'm going to want on my PS5 and all this other stuff and like themes, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough.
And I want to be clear too. There's a couple of things we don't know about with this leak, quote unquote leak. We don't know if they have the Astro Playroom game installed on the console or not. It comes with every.
I think that's confirmed.
It did have it on there.
I think that's confirmed. I think the Playroom comes installed on the console, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You don't know if this leak included that.
Exactly, and I don't think that's going to be 100 gigabytes.
No, it's probably like a 10 to 20 gigabyte game, maybe.
Well, I don't know, because it's next gen. I don't fucking know what the hell it's going to be, but
yeah,
I don't think that matters.
Hello, my fellow human being. Thanks for checking out this video. I really appreciate it. Do you know that it's actually part of a larger podcast called Hapticast? Check it out by clicking here.